Good morning and welcome to Life and Style. It's Relationship Wednesday, so you know that we are on Talk to Pastor Chris. My name is Chris Jatemo, your host. And of course, on Talk to Pastor Chris, we always have a panel and having topical discussions. We're coming to you from the Limac Suites, that is along Kiambu Road or off Kiambu Road, next to the Four Ways Junction and actually next to the Four Ways Estate. It's a place for apartments. So if you're looking for a place to stay, you've got guests who are coming into the country, you've got somebody who's coming into town and you need a place to stay, this is the place that you would come to. As you can see, there's beautiful ambience around this place. There's green in the midst of the bricks, so you can come out over here. We're going to be talking about silent treatment, and to help me do that, I've got two ladies and a gentleman. I've got Joyce Wenja, I've got Elmac. Did I get that right? Elmad? Elmad, yeah. And then I've got Grace, who's a counseling psychologist, and they're going to help us just dig into the matter of silent treatment in relationships. You know the drill. Follow us on our social media platforms at KTN_Life_ for both Twitter and Instagram, KTN Life and Style for Facebook. The hashtag for the conversation, KTN Life and Style, and of course, Relationship Wednesday. So if you have your views, your thoughts, what is silent treatment? Is it ever justified? What gets people over there? Kindly join the conversation and flow with us. I want to begin with Grace. Yes. Silent treatment. What is this that we call silent treatment?
Silent treatment is when you decide to withhold conversation with a person that you're in relationship with. So it could be a coworker, it could be your spouse, it could be your children. It could be your children that decide to give you silent treatment. And usually it's a way of communicating, I'm disappointed, or I'm hurt, or I'm not feeling you right now, I'm angry, I'm bitter with you. It could say all of that. However, there is also a point in which we might use silent treatment because I don't trust what I'm going to say. Okay. So it's a way of preserving the relationship. It's a way of saying, I need a timeout.
Is that caution? Is that treatment? when I'm afraid
yes.
that I may say something wrong?
Yes, yes.
Is that caution, or is that also classified as silent treatment?
I would say that depending on whether, because I choose to see silent treatment until I talk to the person, as it can be both preventative, okay, as well as a way of punishing you, or a way of saying that something isn't right and I'm not feeling you. So it could be that I just want to preserve myself because I can't trust what I'm going to do if I start talking.
All right.
Yeah.
Elmond,
yes.
How does that sit in a relationship? You know, two people are relating and then somebody just decides, I'm not going to be having conversations. How does that sit in a relationship?
Well, thank you for having me on the show. And matters of silent treatment are very, very emotional and emotive, because it's not healthy to begin with. You know, just going on this ghost law of not wanting to speak with the other person because of a wrong they did. And you see, the moment this happens, it means that the abuser now is left in a position of, you know, dismay and confusion, because they're not really sure how to go about it. They're like, do I speak about it? Do I keep silent about it? Do I use which approach? It gets very, very confusing. And you see, the moment that happens, the abuser now gains control, total control over the other person, because they know I have domineered over this other person. So that means whatever they try to do, be it trying to reach out to me or speak to me, will fail, will always fail. That brings a lot of unhealthy balance in that relationship.
You have kind of created something around the person who meets out the silent treatment to be an abuser. What of the case where they feel they're the abused? And so, like Grace said, you know, sometimes somebody's feeling like, I'm angry with you, I'm not happy with you, I'm upset. And so they feel they don't want to talk to you because they feel they've been hurt. Are they still the abuser?
Yes, they're still the abuser, because psychologically it's defined as emotional abuse. Silent treatment is defined as emotional abuse because it has its roots way back in 1835. It used to be used as a measure of torturing inmates or prisoners. Can you imagine you're an inmate and the officers who are supposed to attend to you are not calling you one by your name. They're calling you using numbers. So how best can you define that if not abuse? And you bring in a very, very interesting concept. What if the person who is, the abuser, quote unquote, the real person is being abused, but they don't know how to speak about it. It's a problem because it trickles down to this person having fears. And until and unless that fear is dealt with, then can we, quote unquote, untag that, tag that will level them as being the abuser.
All right. Joyce, silent treatment. And, you know, you're growing up in a very different age. So are blue ticks part of the silent treatment? And you need your microphone close to you.
For me, when someone does anything bad to me, I usually punish you. Like, I just keep quiet.
Is it
I
a
like being
personality
silent.
or
Yeah.
is it something that you just decide, you
I
deliberate?
just decide to do it. As I say, it's a good thing when I go silent, you'll realize what you did to me. So the silence make you think more about as in
Somebody said one time, and somebody said that men are not very good at picking nonverbal communication, for example. So if you go silent and the man has no idea what he did, how have you succeeded?
of course when I go silent you'll just wonder what did I do? What did I do wrong? And at
So you're
the
actually becoming what Elmad said, which is the abuser.
for me I like be silent. I like being silent, and when I'm silent maybe you'll just realize what you did, and then we can conclude to something else, something maybe to solve the issue. But instead of arguing, doing more stuff, creating a lot of commotions, I just better be silent.
Yeah, but I asked you, are blue ticks part of the silent treatment? Because there are people who get upset. They say, you know, I saw on WhatsApp, you read my messages.
Yeah, you blue ticked
and
me,
you
did
did
reply my
nothing, so-
text. Yeah, it's part of it.
You know what I'm thinking as I'm listening I'm thinking about the blue ticks because I do that a lot. not because it's silent treatment, but it brings in the concept of the three ways that we communicate. And so you are communicating by your body language, you're communicating by your tone of voice, and you're also communicating by your words. But your words are only 7% of the whole 100% of the communication. So the body language, which would be the blue ticks, is a body language of some sort because it's a nonverbal, that now I'm left to assume or to fill in the gaps about what you were saying, just like the silent treatment. And that's why it's not healthy for a relationship, because you leave me to wonder and to make judgments about your behavior. So you are thinking that silent treatment is going to make me be able to look inside and ask myself, what did I do wrong to her? And that's what you're hoping that is going to be. What if you just use your words instead of that? Because I may not get that. What I may get from you, I may get abandonment and rejection, and I may also decide if one can do it, two can do it better.
Because I was thinking about it. I was thinking about what if I never get it? Because and you may be upset over one thing, and then even if I try to get it, I may assume it's something completely different. And so I will be trying to fix something else. And here you are, and then you get even more upset. You're getting more upset because you're thinking, I should have dealt with what you're upset about, which I have no idea completely about. So I begin to get frustrated, and then I get to the place where Grace says, I'm also upset. So I feel like, okay, so this is it. Let it be. So people go into a Cold War, not even knowing what the issue is, so they're not able to address it. So it's not an effective way, Elmad, right?
At all, it's not, because as you're putting it, the moment there's that Cold War, nobody's willing to reach out to the other. And as Grace was saying, the words carry about 7%, and then the voice takes about 38%. But then the 55%, which is left, the body language now, it's even much more effective to look at. Because as Maya Angelou, the late American civil champion, once said, that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never ever forget how you made them feel. So if you want to get to me by going silent, how is that helping me? It's only torturing me. Because human beings love to be listened to, love to be cared for, love to be given the attention that they need. But the moment that is withdrawn from them, you are abusing them, literally, psychologically. They go under.
Is there a need for human beings? So are men included there? In
Oh,
the
yes.
fact that
Men, women, the older generation, the young generation, everybody, irregardless. Because assume this, you're walking in the street, then you meet somebody who is in need. Say, for example, this person has been robbed. And you take your good time and attend to their needs. What will they say in return? They'll say, thank you. But look at this same person. They cry out for need or for help, but you ignore them. How do they feel? And they know very well that you can assist them. They feel hurt. So picture this in a relationship. This is somebody you've known for so long, and you relate with so well. Then all of a sudden, no communication, lights out. Yeah.
Whenever people, Joyce, maybe, for example, you're in a relationship with somebody and then you had something. You had something about him. It may not even be true. And then you're thinking, how could he have done that? Or you saw them liking, let me talk to your generation. So you saw them liking their ex's photo on Instagram. And you're thinking, so they are still in touch? Then you go silent. And this person was not even thinking much. They're thinking, I'm committed here. I'm just being civil over there. How does that help? How does that help your cause? Are there other ways that people can, especially in the technological age, are there other ways that people can get to communicate, even if they're not very good at the verbal, like Grace would say? Are there other ways?
The best way, I think, it's only communicating. That's the best way. If you don't communicate, if you go silent, he can never know, by the way. Like you said, anaweza kuwa na solve issue yenye siyo, right? Unapata, he did this and you got mad, and he's solving the wrong issue. Unapata hata sasa kumekuwa na issue hata mbili na kulikuwa na issue moja. So me, I think the best way is communicating. Me get mad, go silent. In the end, nakuja napata nimeongea tu cause hata realize. So napata wewe mwenyewe tu ndio umeongea, umesema it was this and this. Yeah.
Grace, do you think that the younger generation, the millennials especially, do you think that they are edgy?
Yes, they are. And I think, and even not even thinking in terms of the millennials, just the age, the developmental age, that age group of being in your 20s, you are still developing when it comes to relational intelligence. You're still you're coming out from being told what to do, and now you are trying to assert yourself in this world, and you get into relationships and you have absolutely no idea. So you kind of, when you are triggered, as a young person, you tend to deal with those triggers the same way you dealt with them when mom and dad would trigger you. And so there is that temper tantruming, if there is any word like that, right. Yeah. So yeah, and I think in the younger generation right now, what we need to do a lot is to train them how to have the ability to manage their emotions. How to manage so that now we are not silent treatment.
I'm in for that.
And we are not, again, we are not going to the other extreme where we are just aggressive, verbally aggressive towards one another. So we want to learn and to teach about assertiveness, being able to express how you feel and what your need is at that particular time. And I'm going to say, because probably part of the reason why we are using silent treatment is because of our personality. If you are melancholic, you want to think about it. It's almost like if you are melancholic, you enjoy the deep analyzing of what happened, and so we do the thing that you said, how could he do that, who does that, and we have all this personalizing of the situation, and by the time we finish this process, I have designed a book, I have written it, published it, and it's on social media as the truth, but without the benefit of the person who actually started it. So the only person who knows the reason why they did what they did is the person who did it. But have I even taken time to clarify, to ask, and try to find out why or what was behind that? And that is what we miss out in most of our relationships. And very quickly, I want to say, one of the things that I train my couples to do is to always communicate with words. When we teach young children, why are you crying? And I say, use your words. Mommy cannot understand. Can you use your words? And I want to say that to couples as well.
Yes.
Please use your words. Because when you do, when I go silent, I need, and now we have all this text. I don't have
now
to.
that you have brought up that, do you think we have played a role? So a child is crying, then I'll either find a toy, an iPad, I'll find something just to keep them quiet. Do you think we are reaping that generation? Do you think that what we are faced with now is that generation that we showed that if you throw tantrums, we give you something to keep quiet, and so they're bringing that into their adult life?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Because I'm a mother who had children in my 40s. So by the time my kids are coming, my parenting is very different than if I was 20. So when he cries, I'm not over there, oh baby, what's wrong? No, I just check and make sure he's safe and put him somewhere safe, and I say, okay, when you're finished, mommy will be over here, you come talk to me. You know, because I need to allow him to express himself. What happens is that when we kind of feed into this temper tantruming, then what we do not give people the opportunity to self-soothe. And so we have these communication issues in our marriages, because when me and my husband can't agree, he locks the door and he goes off. He takes the car keys and goes off for 2 days, and he shuts me out, because that's until I come out, I beg him, so that he comes out. So yeah, I think maybe that's.
I thought that we're in a generation, Elmer, that is more communicative. Or rather, that's an assumption that I would make. More communicative. I mean, people spend the whole night. They're chatting. They're everywhere. They're commenting on everything on social media. They're all over the place. They will take photos. They will post on Instagram like 4 or 5 times a day. So they look to be very communicative. Why is it difficult for them then to communicate when it comes to conflict?
And again, reiterate what you said. We most of us assume to be communicating, but we are just but yapping. Sorry for using that word. Yeah, it's all noise, because really, if you try and see what is being spoken about or communicated, what is the content value of the same? Because if I, for example, post on social media that I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that, how does that help me in coping with my issues or with my problems? Through my partner.
Your partner is supposed to see.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Maybe I was hurt by my partner and I go silent. And what do? I post on social media so that he sees. What is so difficult in speaking to them and tell them, hey, you know what? You did this and this and this and that, and I don't like it, and it hurt me. But by us going on social media or speaking about it, we sort of like culture it, create this environment for you to, grow and seem acceptable. At the end of the day, we are the ones who are suffering all the more. Yeah, because ideally we should not react to situations. We should respond. As with medication, when somebody is unwell and you hear that they are reacting to the medication, you get worried. But when you start hearing that they respond to the medication, it's all good news. So the same with communication. It's supposed to be very, very effective. And for me, effective, as Grace said, is not a matter of taking to social media or sharing with a friend who, quote unquote, is only there for the moment. It should be getting down to the person who and telling me, you know what, this has been happening this way. And I think these are the consequences thereof. How can we solve it and go about it so that we get an amiable and a long-lasting solution for the same? And that's why you'll get that my generation, which I'm a millennial as well, will suffer a lot because everybody's doing it. A friend will tell you, I'm going to be evil. Just forget about it and go silent. They won't do nothing. Unlike the olden times. So for us to procure a much healthier generation in the future, we need to start speaking about these things right now and addressing them as they are, as real issues.
Are we afraid? Are we afraid of dealing with difficult issues, Joyce? Are we afraid?
Yeah, we are so afraid.
We're afraid, right?
Yeah, we are.
So people love the happy place. So they always like, you know, happiness comes before
Yeah,
everything and all of
everyone
that.
loves a happy place. Even me, I love a happy place.
So when we encounter anything that is not a happy place, we don't know how to respond to it.
We fear pain. Nobody likes pain. When you think about it, anxiety disorders, they are all about pain. You know, I don't want to be in this uncomfortable place. I want things to be okay, and yet that is not reality, and that is why we have issues now of a lot of issues with substance abuse and other maladaptive behaviors that we know people are using to cope, just to get to that happy place. Yeah.
Right. You know, and I cannot have this discussion without keeping on going back to the element of like social media and technology, because we're absolutely in that generation. So if I am in a relationship with this person and then I'm posting my photos, I'm expecting a sense of validation. You raised up that issue that everybody wants to be spoken to, listened to. You know, everybody wants acceptance. They want affirmation or something. So here I am. I've posted. Like just before we started, right over here, I asked Timon. Where's Timon? Timon is over there. I asked Timon to take a photo of myself. I asked Timon to take a photo of myself. Then I'm thinking, you know, like, I'm looking good. Then I post it over there. Then my partner does not comment, does not like. Does that qualify for silent treatment? As in, you've been doing that daily, you're posting stuff, and then your partner never bothers. Does that qualify for silent treatment?
Well, I'd say that is a bit different.
Is it
Unless,
difficult?
of
But
course, you
guys
want
get upset about that. People get upset about that. They say, you know, they never like my photos. They never will come and they never comment about my photos. Is that a form of silent treatment?
I wouldn't say it's a form of silent treatment, really. I'd term it as something else, which I'm trying to look up for name to give the same. Because you posting a photo or a post on Facebook or whatever social media platform it is, and people don't like, that does not mean that, you know, it's silent
I'm talking about
treatment.
your partner. This is either your boyfriend, girlfriend, or husband or wife, you know.
And you see, I'd be a bit rudimentary here and say, why not ask them to like your photo or comment? If they really mean well for you. Yes, tell them that, hey, I did this, what do you think about it? And ideally, even before you post it, actually ask for the opinion. I want to do this post or this photo. What do you think about it? Should I post it or should I not post it? If they have your best interests at heart, they'll advise you whether to go ahead and post it or not. But if you just do it, of course, some will see that, honestly, what you're doing is very stupid. And that's why maybe that's why they won't comment immediately. Yeah? So just ask them. I mean, I did this post and I think it's very, very nice. Kindly post it. I would rather like it for me, or, you know, share it with a friend or a colleague. It's not too much to ask, because the moment you speak with somebody, there's that bond that's naturally created. It's much more healthier than, say, spending the whole hour watching, say, a series or something of the sort. But reach out to them, tell them that I have this venture that involves this and this and this and that. I'd like you know, to support me in it. If they mean well, again, they'll support you in it.
I wanted to say that in relationship counseling, when I hear, because I don't mean to make it look like it's nothing. I know it's a lot. If it's hurting you, it's a lot. But those are some of the things that I hear in counseling. This is so petty. I can't even believe we are here discussing and paying money to discuss this, you know. But usually what I have found, when you find a couple who is nitty picking, you know, you're picking on things that are creating a problem about how we are connecting, how important, how valuable I am to you, then there is a deeper problem in the relationship. That somebody is not feeling valued, they are not feeling affirmed, and they are not feeling that they are being cherished. And that is why little things like the social media, because if we are good at home, whether you post and I like or I don't like, I'm feeling okay, I'm fine, we are safe, and I'm feeling that we are connected. The moment there is a disconnect, I am going to begin to be jealous of anybody and everything that you are connected to.
But you know, there are people who, or rather it is said that you can tell how somebody feels about you. When people stop feeling good about you, they stop liking your stuff. Is that the truth? That so now somebody does not like you anymore. So now even your photos, no matter how good a post you will do, they will never like it. They're trying to send a message to you. They've stopped they can see you in a very fine dress, but they're thinking, you know, if they like it, they're affirming you,
Yes.
but they're upset with you.
That can be, and when you asked, the question is not liking a photo or social media posting a form of silent treatment. We cannot really know. Okay. The only person who knows that answer is the person who's not liking it. Yeah. So you have changed behavior. Yeah. You used to like it, but now you don't like it anymore. I have a very good friend that posts very nice things on social media, but I don't want to lie that I read it by liking it. So if I just looked and I saw, oh yeah, great, but it's too long for me, I don't have time to read it, I just pass on it because I'm not being authentic even to her. What if she calls me and says, I saw you liked my post, what did you think of it? And I haven't read it. So there is also that pretense that happens in social media.
Okay, so silent treatment then has its basis in an offense, right? It's not just because I'm not talking to you. It's not just because I'm not liking your stuff. The basis of it must be a form of offense.
It is, because at the end of the day, the person who's being targeted is almost made supposed to be made to feel that you're being punished because of this and this and this and this and that. Yeah.
Now, what if, let me come back to you, Joyce, you know, because you're the silent treater. You're a nurse when it comes to silent treatment. What if you're dealing with somebody whose personality really doesn't care? I mean, they love their space, they love their silence. So when you go quiet, they actually feel like, oh my goodness, thank you, Jesus, you've answered my prayer. Would it still qualify to be silent treatment?
No, not anymore.
Yeah.
No.
So what if you're dealing with somebody who enjoys silence? Or you're actually dealing with somebody who has been wanting to leave? They've been wanting to leave. Yeah, then you go quiet and they're not bothered.
I'll just talk.
You'll talk?
I'll talk, yeah. I won't let you leave. I won't let you leave, by the way. I'll just talk.
You'll talk?
Yeah.
Okay. So at what point then is this silent treatment manipulation?
Exactly. If that's the way you deal with not being happy in your relationship, just know that you are actually not bringing value to your relationship. You're taking value away from it. And so I would be, if I use silent treatment, one day, I see this happen all the time. One day, 5 years later, she comes in or he comes in and he says, I'm done. I want a divorce. I want to leave. And then you're like, huh? Because you haven't been thinking about how this way of coping with conflict in your relationship, what it has been doing to the relationship. I tell couples when they come into my office, my client in this session is your relationship. So I see you, John, I see you, Mary, but in between you there is your relationship. And that is the person I am going to heal today.
Let's talk about conflict. How are people supposed to handle conflict? Because if the silent treatment comes from an offense or conflict, and it's not a healthy way to deal with it, as much as there is the element that you brought up where somebody may feel, I don't want to talk because I may say something that, I may speak something that will take another 10 years. You know, I may break this person, so I don't want to speak because I'm angry for now. Then I'll talk when I've cooled down. But what are those ways that people are supposed to deal with conflict in their relationships?
Let me say very quickly, as a way of foundation, that we need to be self-aware. That you need to know, are you an aggressor? Are you a freezer? Or are you a passive aggressor? Because if you know who you are, then you can work towards that.
Who's the first one?
The first one, the aggressive one, is the person who controls the situation by being aggressive. I'm angry, and so I shout, I yell, I throw things. The passive aggressor one is the one who gives the silent treatment. And then you have the freezer, is the one who says yes, 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 finish quickly, and then they
so that we get
so they don't show any emotion, and they will actually come to a place where they don't care. So they can go into an indifferent place, and they just exist. They'll do everything, but you're not connecting. So number one, you've got to know where you are in conflict managing, how you do it. So.
Exactly. Yeah, sure. And maybe just to pick up from where she's left, it's also very, very important to acknowledge that the problem exists. Because most of us, what we do when we encounter such situations, we tend to sweep all the data under the carpet. But does that really help? So acknowledging that there's a problem is also another step to, to move forward. So once you've acknowledged that, okay, this and this is a problem, then next, reach out to your partner or to your, your friend or whoever it is. And as you do that, don't seek to be heard, seek to be understood. Because the moment you want to be heard, you'll not be doing anything. You'll be just about, making noise. But if you make the, the partner or the friend or whoever it is understand that this and this is the situation, it gets much easier. Yeah. Chances are you might reach out to them, then they refused. They say, I don't want to speak about it or about the issue. Just let it go. Give it time. And when you feel that it's convenient to speak about the issue again, bring it up again one more time so that you can go about it. But most importantly, seek to be understood, not to be heard. And then gradually, of course, before I pass over to Grace, seek therapy if it's getting very, very difficult. Because you might try all the avenues, try to reach out to your partner, there's still difficulty refusing. There is help that is out there. So don't die alone with the issue and saying that I must be the macho man in this, in this scenario.
But I wanted to raise up the issue of what role has the backgrounds of these people got to do with these traits that they bring out? Because there's probably a child, somebody grew up and they were so used to being victimized and being punished and something till they became very hardened. Like everything wrong they did, they're beaten up. So they get to that zone where they can take in pain without showing emotion. So anytime there is something, they just feel like get over with it. So they become this person of a freezer. And you're dealing with this person, then you've got conflict situations. And they really don't know how to get out of that situation. And some people don't even like to hear that you want to take them to Grace or therapy because you're telling them they have a problem.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And as you're saying, the environment is already a major contributor in how people turn out to be in their life and even exhibiting such traits of, silent treatment or something of the sort. Especially people with narcissistic personality disorder tend to exhibit this a lot. Now, when I speak about narcissistic personality disorder, it's basically people who are so full of themselves, they always want to appear to know it all, always want to be the center of attention and, just domineer. And this is pegged to their childhood, their upbringing, how they were brought up. As Grace was earlier mentioning, if a child cries for a toy, do you give them the toy immediately, or do you weigh and see when it's the proper time to give it or to withdraw it from them? Yeah, so the environment can equally contribute, and that's why it's very, very important or poignant for the caregivers, therefore, as they raise up their kids, to know when and where to direct them and how also.
All right, and there's the element also, Joyce. So I want to have a conversation with my partner. Elmad raised the issue of, you might go and then they're still not ready, and so you need to give time. How do I build myself so that I'm not interpreting time as rejection? Because I try to reach out to you, and then you're not ready, and then I'm thinking, you mean I actually tried to talk to them, and they're not talking to me? So I begin to feel rejection, and I begin to feel bitter. What is somebody supposed to do at that place where their partner is not ready to talk to them?
When the partner is not ready to talk. Okay, so for me,
You walk?
no, I don't walk away, by the way. I don't walk away because even if you walk away, the issue will still be there. It will never end. So there is a time that you'll just have to talk about it. Even if you walk away, it's not the solution. So you just have to talk about it. Even if he'll go away, I'll still look for him. Yeah, I'll still look for him. One day we must talk about it.
You're going to talk about it.
Yeah, we must talk about it.
And let me share something that could be a help. If you know that you use silent treatment to control the situation or to deal with the situation, communicate, use a few words. Just say, I am not walking away in protest. I am not rebelling. I'm not rejecting, but I need some time. And then learn to kind of give it a timeline. So it's not, you know how the Bible says, do not let the sun go down with your anger. So you might even put boundaries on your silent treatment. First of all, communicate about that. I'm going into silent treatment, not in rebellion. This is not punishing you. I need the space. You know vile niko, mimi na need space kidogo. So communicate, but also put a boundary on how long you're going to. But then also ask yourself, what is the point of the silent treatment? What do I want to gain from that time? Is it a time to just brood over how angry I am and grow bitter? Or is it a time for me to say, let me think about this and how I'm going to approach my partner? Because sometimes people who give silent treatment don't trust that the partner will understand. So they do all that, the conclusion that, they are not going to understand, so what's the point?
All right. And sometimes, you know, then you've got these partners who, when you go, you do the silent treatment thing, they begin to feel very insecure because they keep on thinking you're silent because you want to leave them. No matter even how much you explain that, look, I just need to be quiet right now. I need to figure things out and something. They just keep on feeling you want to leave them. And then they get on pushing and pushing and pushing. How is a partner supposed to handle a partner who's giving them silent treatment? And they've tried their way to explain it.
Yeah.
I think that also calls for a lot of self-awareness and practicality as well. Because if the partner, has mentioned that they need some time alone to cool off and to think things over, give them that time that they need. Now, your duty is not to try to, reach out to them immediately because they need that time, or start thinking that, oh, I think now I'll be alone. This is a strategy. They're just saying it, but then eventually they'll vamoose and never come back again. What you should be doing now as a person is to ask yourself the question, how did I hurt this person? And how can I make it better next time? Because a forgiveness is not forgiveness until it is fully accepted. There's this kind of people who say that, you know what, I've forgiven you, lakini I'll never forget. That is not forgiveness. Yeah. So what you should be doing as a person, as you wait for the other partner to heal during this time space, is to understand why or how you hurt them and how that made them feel. The moment you've understood that, you know that next time, if such a situation presents itself, I'm supposed to handle it in this or that or the other manner.
You know, while you're saying that, I'm smiling because there are these people who will say, okay, I'm sorry I hurt you. So they recognize, I'm sorry I hurt you. Then you're still quiet. Then they come back and they say, I said I'm sorry.
Yes.
And then you're still quiet. Then like, but I've said I'm sorry, so why are you doing this? So they are upset now that they have said sorry.
Sorry, and you're not. Yes, because again, the idea of forgiveness, every time we think about forgiveness, we think that forgiveness means I put you back to the same position you were before the offense. And so there needs to be an understanding that just because you said I'm sorry doesn't mean that my pain has gone away. So give me time to do that. Now, I want to say that the people who are afraid that I'm anxious now, I'm in anxiety because you have given me silent treatment. When the silent treatment is finished, and again, I'm going to emphasize, you need to give it a time limit. Really, you do. Let it not be the one that is guiding the relationship. After that, before you move on, let's do a postmortem of what just happened 2 hours ago before we move on, so that we can say this is hurting our relationship. When you do silent treatment to me, I feel rejected. And usually if you use words like this, usually we say I'm mad, I'm just mad, you are so selfish. But if I own it, this is assertiveness now. When you do such and such, I feel this way and I would like to. So you are saying what your behavior is, how it makes me feel, and what my need is, and what I want, I would like. And so when we do that, people are able to hear us better, so that we don't get into these cycles of silent treatment, and then you come back, and then silent treatment, you come back.
Okay. Joyce, I may just finish with you, wrap it up with you. So here is this guy who's giving you a silent treatment, and then in social places or somewhere else, you see he's actually happy with everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
Is that still valid? Is that acceptable? So he's quiet on you completely. Then he gets out, he meets Elmer, and he's, you know, the male hag, the slapping hands and all of that. He's happy everywhere else. But when it comes to you, then he goes quiet. Is that acceptable?
For me, what I'll think, he was just waiting for that chance. As in, alikuwa nangoja tu tukosane, and then he can use that chance to be happy. Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I can think. Because how can we just, I went silent because you did something to me, and you're there outside having fun while I'm there hurting. Yeah, ndafikiria tu hiyo ndio kitu ulikuwa unataka, like yeah,
But in
ulikuwa
10
unatafuta hiyo
seconds.
opportunity.
In 10 seconds, Elmer.
Well, I'd sum it up in what Plato, the philosopher, once said, that we can easily forgive a child for fearing the darkness, but the real tragedy of life is when adults fear the light. So what do we need to do in such a scenario? If this person is, you know, being silent when you're with you, but outside they seem all happy and, you know, making merry, come, let the person be authentic and to themselves. You know, they know what, I'm doing this at home, but in the outside world, I'm somebody different, which is not matching. So let that person be honest. If there's no enemy within, the one without cannot do us any harm. So be authentic to yourself, be true to yourself. If you are silent at home, then be silent also outside. I mean, why be double-sided? Be true to yourself.
Grace, just 10 seconds.
That would probably not be possible. So I want to say that there are times in relationships that we need to compartmentalize some things. So just because I'm hurting from my husband doesn't mean that I don't have to be happy elsewhere. I will be. That's the reality of life. And if I'm the one who's getting the silent treatment and I see him out there being happy, I shouldn't take that personally. Now, I should be able to understand the reason why he is not talking to me is not because his life has turned upside down. It's because me and him are not good. And that's okay. There is nothing wrong with that.
Okay. Well, there's a lot that we could say. You know, we never get through with conversations, but of course, you can always reach out to the panelists, you know, if you've got more questions. But even right now, keep the conversation going. Even though Crystal Okusa is coming up next with Style with Crystal, you can just keep the conversation going. The hashtag is KTN Life and Style. Remember, we were coming to you from the Limax Suites, that is off Kiambu Road, the Four Ways Junction. Just a little bit after that, on the Four Ways Estate, you find the Limax Suites right over here. Beautiful place with both green and bricks. So you can come in, find an apartment for yourself over here. You're looking for apartment for your organization. You're looking for people that, you know, a place for people to stay. You could come and stay right over here. Keep it right here. Crystal is up next.